All right, today we're diving into something big, a fundamental shift in how we build software. This all comes from the 2026 Agentic Coding Trends Report. And trust me, this isn't just about another AI assistant. We're talking about AI becoming a core member of the development team.
So let's just jump right in with a pretty provocative question. What if writing code, line by line, isn't the most important part of building software anymore? I mean, really think about that for a second. That single idea is at the heart of everything we're about to unpack, and it's already shaking up the entire industry.
Okay, so the big term for this whole idea is agentic coding. And what does that actually mean? Well, think of it like this. The human engineer is no longer the person laying every single brick. They're the architect and the conductor, orchestrating a team of autonomous AI agents that do the heavy lifting, the writing, the debugging, the testing. It's a huge mindset shift, right? We're moving from AI as a tool, like a hammer, to AI as a true teammate.
And let's be super clear here. This is not some small incremental change. The report literally calls it a tectonic shift, and for good reason. We're talking about the very foundations of how we develop software starting to move right under our feet.
This chart really spells it out perfectly. On the one side, you have the old role, the implementer. You're down in the weeds, writing every single line of code, manually debugging everything. But now, look at the new role, the orchestrator. The focus completely shifts. It's all about system architecture, high-level strategy, and, this part is absolutely crucial, coordinating and judging the output of those AI agents.
So what did this really mean for an engineer's value? It means your brain, your judgment, is more critical than ever. It's not about how fast you can type anymore. It's about making sure these incredibly powerful agents are aimed at the right problems and solving them the right way. That strategic thinking, that's the part a human still owns, and it's priceless.
And the results of this are just mind-blowing. Get this quote from Augment Code. A customer had a project their own CTO figured would take 4 to 8 months to complete. Using this new approach, they finished it in just 2 weeks. Just let that sink in for a moment. That's not a 10% improvement. That's a complete game changer that rewrites the entire economic rulebook for software.
So, okay, what can teams actually do with this new approach? What are the new superpowers that this whole shift unlocks? Let's get into it. First up is this idea of moving from a single agent to a whole team of them. It's like going from having one skilled apprentice to managing an entire workshop of specialized experts. The human orchestrator can now coordinate agents that are great at different things, database work, UI, security, and have them all work in parallel. Suddenly, you can tackle problems that are way more complex than you ever could before.
And we are way beyond asking an AI to write one simple function. The scope of work, what the report calls the task horizon, is just exploding. We're now seeing agents that can work completely on their own for hours or even days, building out entire systems. The human just needs to check in periodically, kind of like a project manager.
And if you want a killer example of this, look no further than Rakuten. They gave an AI agent a really tricky task inside a massive, complex open-source library. The agent just went to work. 7 hours later, totally on its own, the job was done. Can you even begin to calculate how many person-hours that would have taken a human team? But here's where it gets really interesting. The data shows this sort of collaboration paradox. So while AI is being used in about 60% of development work, look at this split. Only 20% of that is fully delegated, set it and forget it kind of work. The other 80%? That's a close collaboration. That's the human supervising, guiding, and making those crucial judgment calls. So it's not a replacement, it's a deep, hands-on partnership. Okay, so we've seen the new powers. But what's the real-world impact? How is this actually remaking the world around us? Let's look at some hard numbers. First up, execution speed. At the fintech company Cred, they literally doubled their development speed. And how'd they do it? Not by replacing people, but by moving their engineers up the value chain to focus on strategy while the agents cranked out the code. Next, let's look at logistics. A customer of Fountain needed to staff up a new fulfillment center. What used to take them a full week, they now get done in just 72 hours. That's a monster improvement in just pure operational speed.
And then there's the sheer scale of it all. At TELUS, by rolling out thousands of custom AI solutions across the company, they've saved over 500,000 hours of work. 500,000 hours. The productivity gains are just off the charts.
And get this power isn't even just for engineers anymore. There's this amazing story of a lawyer, someone with absolutely zero coding experience, who used these tools to build a solution for their own work, They automated legal reviews and cut the time it took from 3 days down to just 24 hours. This is about putting the power to solve problems in everyone's hands.
Now, we have to talk about the flip side, because this much power is of course a double-edged sword, and nowhere is that more true than in security. On the one hand, you have the defense. AI can run super deep security reviews, making everyone a security expert. But on the other hand, you have the offense. The same tools can be used to scale incredibly sophisticated attacks. It just means that building with a security-first mindset isn't optional anymore. It's day one table stakes.
So that brings us to the big question. What do you do about all this? What's your next move? This last part is basically the playbook for how to navigate this new world.
The report gives us 4 crystal-clear priorities for 2026. 1. Get really good at coordinating those multi-agent teams for complex jobs. 2. Figure out how to scale human oversight so you don't become the bottleneck. 3. Push these tools out beyond just the engineering department to empower the whole organization. And 4. Bake security into the foundation from the very start. That's the to-do list.
And really, this is the bottom line. This isn't something you can just dabble in. The companies that treat this as a central strategic priority, they're the ones who are going to define what's even possible in the future. Everyone else? Well, they're going to find themselves competing in a game where the rules have fundamentally changed, and they didn't get the memo.
So, in the end, what's this all about? The goal isn't to remove humans from the loop. It's the exact opposite. It's to make your expertise, your unique human insight, count more than it ever has before. It's about freeing you up from the grunt work so you can focus on the big, game-changing ideas. So the only question left to ask is, what will you build?